Hey peeps, welcome to NasTime. Today we're doing a review on the Mazda BT50. This is the SP model. So for those that are familiar with my channel, you're going to be asking yourself, why have I got this car? I picked up the XTR model about 5 or 6 weeks ago. Been really happy with that. There'll be some reviews coming on that one soon. But Essendon Mazda were actually kind enough to lend me this car for a few days just to do a bit of a review on it. And I also wanted to do some comparisons to the XTR. So let's get into it. So moving on to the front here, first thing you probably notice is the grille. So it has been blacked out on this model. So a lot of things have been blacked out on this model. That's part of the sports model. I'm not sure exactly what SP stands for. I'll put up the bottom if I see it, but doesn't really matter. But we do have here the blacked out grille. Not sure why they haven't blacked out the emblem. Kind of guessing they want to show off their name a little bit more, but personally I would have blacked that out, and I probably would black that out if I was holding on to this car. And the bonnet here, look, the styling on this car is probably one of the main features that attracted me to this model, to this car. Mazda have always got pretty stylish lines, so they've got what they call the Kodo design, and you know, it's just pretty fancy and pretty stylish, in my opinion at least. So this bonnet, one thing I will mention, driving around, has this moulding here, this shape here, that actually tends to pick up the light. Now, I actually have a dash mat that I've added some patches to, and a few people have asked me, doesn't that bother you, you know, with the reflection? To be honest, it doesn't. The reflection I get is from this here, so just something to think about. And Mazda, if you're going to redesign it, look, the lights here, LED lights. Love the auto feature. This car's got a lot of auto features. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But essentially, you just put it on auto and they just turn on and off whenever they feel like it, whenever they need to. So they do have daylight globes or daylight LEDs as well. Just had a couple of birds fly past me if you saw that. And they come on during the day, which looks quite stylish. And then pretty good working lights at night. They're pretty white and pretty bright. I don't think you really need to do too much to those, to be honest. They do have some fog lights or lower lights as well. Personally, probably would have made those yellow to deal with the fog a little bit better, but I'm sure Mazda have their reasons. Moving over here to the side, first thing you may notice is the moulding here over the wheels. I do like these sort of mouldings, excuse the plane. Now, I do like these sort of mouldings, but I prefer the matte black. I'm not sure why they've gone with the gloss. That's just going to pick up the scratches and everything a lot more. And look, personal opinion, but to me, I probably would have gone with matte. And if I ever add them to my car, that's what I'll be going for. The wheels, I did actually consider these wheels. They are essentially the same as my wheels. The tyres are 265/60 R18s, so they are an 18-inch wheel. Not sure why they wanted an 18-inch wheel on a four-wheel drive, to be honest, because you're better off having a higher profile and a smaller rim. But I'm probably going to stick with the 18-inch rims and looking at higher profiles for my car, as well as lifting it as well. But look, the black rims are quite nice, quite stylish. I did consider buying these, but in the end, I'll be going with some aftermarket ones. We've got the mirror here, and that's blacked out as well. Not sure why. The XTR actually has colour-coded, and in my opinion probably looks a little bit better, but I've blacked mine out as well with some covers as well, just to offer it a little bit of protection. So if you do like the black mirrors and you haven't got the SP, you can get covers for them. Covers also for the handles. This one comes with the black handles. Again, they're all the glossy. I'm not a fan of the glossy black, but that's what they've gone for. But I prefer the matte black, and on my car I've actually got the matte black covers. So you've got the side step as well. This is, I call it more of a cosmetic side step. It's functional. You can use it to get to the top of the car and all that sort of stuff. It works quite well, but I wouldn't want to be putting too much pressure on that. And if you're out four-wheel driving, from my experience, these steps don't tend to last very long. So something to consider. Another thing to consider too, if you're looking at a bull bar, I've had quite a few people come to me and say, I've picked up a bull bar, didn't realise that the Mazda fitted bull bars don't actually allow a winch. So something to think about. If you do want to winch down the track, don't get their bull bars. Another main difference too with the XTR, because the XTR is all chrome and this has been blacked out, but it's actually got rails up the top as well. My car doesn't have these rails. Now, Personally, not sure whether they really needed it, not sure whether it adds much to it, but I'm sure they have their reasons for doing it. Now, another quick thing too, who ever gets a car that's not tinted? Come on guys, this is, you know, when the sun comes out, you need a tint. Something to think about, Mazda. Now, another main feature that is different on this car is this railing on the back, or this moulding on the back. It's branded, of course. Looks quite stylish, and it really suits the car. Looks great if that's what you're after, but for me personally, I have gone with the canopy on the back. So I've got the Venture canopy from Maxliner. That's working really well for me, and it's a lot more functional than one of these units. Also has the rolling slider on the back. Works really well. Does take up a little bit of space in the tub, but generally, you know, like for me, if you're not going to have a canopy, then one of these is a must. I'd probably go with an electric one if I was wanting to fit it in, but this does work quite well, and it's quite functional as well. So moving on here, we've got the lights. The lights on the back are not LEDs. They're quite plain and boring, to be honest, but you know what? They're functional, they work. What more can you ask for? Well, what more can you ask for, I can tell you. I've actually put like a moulding around that as well. So I'm in the process of blacking out a lot of my emblems and you know, anything that's chrome on this car. Not that that was chrome, but I just thought that moulding on the back is a little bit nicer feature. It has a nice step on the back. You know, just feel comfortable standing on that. It's obviously going to hold the weight, and it is a colour-coded bumper, but you know, important to have a step on there as well, especially with a canopy on the back, because I'm going to have to climb up there from time to time. This one comes with the tow pack. The tow pack has actually been really good. One thing I am impressed with is they do have the 12-pin plugs, not the 7-pin plugs automatically. But if you're going to get a tow pack, I'd ask them to put an Anderson plug on the back as well, so you can charge your camper if that's what you're doing. Not something I thought of doing, to be honest. And a couple of other things that I'd think about is, that's heavy. I'd think about a tailgate assist. I have one in my car. It works quite well, and I highly recommend them. Another thing this doesn't have, and I do have in mind, is the seal on the back, the tub seal. So, you know, and with a canopy on the back now, my tub is fully sealed. It's actually fantastic. So, like I said, this works quite well. Push it along, opens lovely, then close it up, and there we go. It's lock it in place. So they've got the tub line on this as well. I'm pretty sure that comes standard in the SP model. Really nice looking tub liner. I actually didn't go the tub liner in mine as an option, because I'm actually going with a set of drawers as well. So, and I did consider it just for the tailgate, but I'm not a big fan of the bumps. So I've actually just laid some rubber in the back of mine, so I get a nicer, flatter surface, to be honest, and it works quite well. So that's about it for the outside now. Let's take a look inside. Now, the main difference you're going to notice inside in this model is the leather interior. In my opinion, quite stylish. Now, I've had a bit of mixed reaction. Not everyone likes the brown and the black, but I think it works really well. It does feel quite nice. Probably not the highest quality leather, but not that you expect that. But look, it does feel quite nice. And everything here has a soft touch to it. Even though like the dash is not leather, it has that leather look. It has that nice touch. And I think that works really well. The seat here, the driver's seat, is really comfortable. I haven't been on a big trip yet, but I've done a few Ks in it already. And I'm not getting a sore back or anything. It's actually working quite well. This one here does have full electronic controls. Mine's manual, but again, it works really well, and they have lumbar support as well. Now, another feature of the SP model is it does have heated seats. So if you haven't used heated seats before, I'd definitely recommend them. Some of the other buttons here that we've got is the downhill assist and diff lock, and on the other side we've got the parking sensor buttons as well. And you've got a cigarette lighter port, and you've got a USB port. In my opinion, probably could have done with a couple more, but you know, that's because I'm touring and I'm always plugging stuff in. So the fan and you know, the buttons to all that, look, a little bit confusing initially, only because they're different and new. but I do prefer to have buttons. I know in the Ford, for example, it's all controlled by the unit that they have there. And to me, I like to have a button so, you know, you can press it without looking, basically, and you know how to adjust things without looking at it. So 9-inch screen, working really well. I think my last screen was about a 5-inch and maybe a 7-inch, but this 9-inch screen is really working well. Now, I know there were some reviews online and stuff. They said it was a little bit laggy. I haven't noticed it, to be honest. I don't have a problem with it. So it's actually working really well for me. The only thing I wasn't wrapped about really is the navigation. So look, it worked quite well, other than that it wouldn't tell you what the street name you wanted to turn down. So, you know, that was a bit of annoying for me. But other than that, it generally works well. But if you've got an iPhone or an Android, chances are you're going to be running it through Android Auto or through the iPhone, and you can use Google up there as well. So that generally works a lot better for me. I also run my music through this, through Spotify, so you can play my channel, Camo Club. I'll link it down there if you like, and that works pretty well for me. Dash, you've got a couple of glove box options, really important for me, because glove box number one, kind of trashy to be honest. They've got a big book or manual, and that takes up pretty much the whole space. So it's nice that they've at least given you another dash up there. One little thing that does bother me though is the cup holders. This cup holder, it only has the cup holders in the middle, and they're really deep. So look, I'm not a coffee drinker, but if you are, that will annoy you. But for me, it's actually good because I use them for storage and that sort of stuff. So I like the deep pockets. What they don't have though in the side, in the Isuzu, which is essentially the same car, or it's based on this. It's based on the Isuzu. So, you know, you can expect a lot of similarities, but essentially it's got a pull out cup holder, and don't have one in this model. Don't know why they would have taken it out. It does have a little box though for your coins, which I think is really handy. So look, the steering wheel, there's quite a few buttons on it. My wife looked at that and I think it just kind of went a little bit over her head. She doesn't like too many buttons. But for me, it actually has been working quite well. It's quite functional. You've got your little trip computer on the screen as well, and you can flick through all the modes there. And you know, the main difference between, I think this is a 22 model and I've got the 23 model, is the tyre pressure monitor. So that's one way to get your tyre pressure monitor up and that as well. And that's a great feature. I was happy to wait around for that and get the 23 model. Lots of lights on the dash. There is a light for anything and everything. And look, to be honest, this car almost feels like you're driving something out of the future. It just does everything for you. I mean, the lights were mentioned are automatic. You put it on automatic and they come on and on as they need to. Wipers, same thing. Put on automatic, come on and off as they need to. And that works really well. This car tells you when you're moving on to another lane. It'll beep at you. It'll even try and bring your steering wheel back if you're changing lanes without indicators and that sort of stuff. So you're basically drifting a bit. Now, some people find that annoying. Me, I do tend to drift a little bit, so it's probably not a bad thing for me. Speed controls, constantly telling you about your speed. It won't let you accelerate too close to a car in front of you. Look, what can I say? This car almost drives itself. It just feels really good. And again, a lot of those functions for a lot of people may get a little bit annoying, but they actually work quite well for me. Sometimes, you know, they get on your nerves a little bit, but for the most part, they're actually working for me quite nicely. So the controls here for windows and that sort of stuff, initially they've got 3 sets of controls. So the first one is your windows and your door lock. The second row down is your front windows, and third row down is your back windows. Now, personally, you know, initially I was kind of always going to the top ones, and I would have preferred the front windows to be there. But as I've gotten used to it over time, I find that that's a natural position for your fingers anyway. So it's actually, yeah, I can see why Mazda have done that. Cup holders, you've got bottle holders. I call them bottle holders in the seats. Look, the pockets could have been a bit wider, but the bottle holders are fantastic. If you've got a big bottle, if you've got a long bottle, they're designed on an angle, so they hold them really nicely. So let's jump in the back now and have a look there. Now, I'm 5'7", and as you can see, I've got plenty of room. So I'm not a tall bloke. I'm a big bloke though, so a little bit of space sideways. But I've had three adults in the back of this car, not a problem. And they were quite comfortable. What I've noticed in this car, I'm not sure why, if I'm sitting close or not, but this it seems to have more legroom in the back than my car does. But that may be just the way I've adjusted the seats. But you know, some nice features here. Again, you've got the leather trim, access to your windows. You know, pockets here. The door pockets are pretty ordinary. There's you're not going to get much in there, but it does have a drink bottle holder that works quite well, as they do in the front. You do have a port for your USB port in the back as well, and you've got some vents in the back as well, so for your air conditioning. There's some speakers up here on there. That's part of their surround sound speakers up here on the roof. One thing I didn't mention is the roof. I love the black roof. I really disappointed my car doesn't come with a black roof. I don't know why all cars don't come in the black roof. It just, don't know how to explain it, guys, but it just adds a certain feature that it just feels a lot more comfortable, a lot nicer to me. And, you know, driving everything just definitely feels a lot better. Another thing I didn't mention too is the lights and the sunglass holder on the roof. And now in the back to the back, it does have a drop down cup holder as well. And they've made the cup holders in the back a better height. And again, the moulding, they're quite comfortable. I can't imagine anyone's going to have a problem. I've taken my family of 5 and on a drive, and you know, 1.5 hour drive, no complaints. They all found it quite comfortable. So it's working pretty good. Now, I do also like here on the doors, they've got the handles as well. And obviously for gripping and getting in. And that's good, especially for, you know, if you've got some older people, like I get my mum in the car. And to be honest, it's a little bit high, so she does struggle a little bit. Talking about the height here, 800 mil for going through creeks and rivers and that sort of stuff. I've got the factory snorkel, which comes from Safari, and it is fully sealed, I understand. But the 800 mil, so I could probably get a little bit higher than 800 mil, but the 800 mil height that Mazda recommends comes purely from the breathers. That's where the breathers are. So again, anything I complain about in the back here, it'd be nice if that window opened up, if it had a little sliding window or anything like that. But overall, it's got a very nice and stylish interior and really works well. So there you go, peeps. This is my version of the Mazda BT50 SP model review. Big thanks to Essendon Mazda for lending me the car for the last few days, especially to Barack for organising it for me. And been a great car to drive, but I look forward to taking it back now and picking up my XTR. I have missed it. So look, if you're into outdoor adventures, this channel is all about camping, forward driving, all that sort of stuff. So if you're into all that, please like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks, guys.